Blessed is the light on the solitary highway. Blessed are the sideways glances. Blessed is the stretch and the drop of hammer, the thumping of tread and the beating of rain. Blessed is the thunder over smokestack steeples. Blessed is the diesel, blessed is the choke, blessed is the body bitten in rags. Blessed is the mudflap center. Blessed is the rip in the back of the seat. Blessed is the stretch and drop of hammer, the ribbon of heat that slips under the valley. Blessed is the road for the weary traveler. Blessed is the head coming down. Yeah, I grew up in rural Lexington County. Somehow, through the grace of God and daring myself, I found my way over to the University of South Carolina, and honestly, that's where things started to really blossom. And you know, nobody gets anywhere in this life by themselves. And going off to college, I'm with all these people from around the country, from around the world, and they turned me on to so many poets that I had never read before that just blew me away. And the journey was unorthodox. You know, a kid getting in trouble and stealing a book of poetry, somehow finding his way off to college and somehow finding his way to meet, you know, people that could be very influential, and for them to take the time and really the graciousness to be able to give me a shot.
So what I really love about Ray as a poet is that he is raw, he's irreverent, but at the same time he's like deeply respectful of place, of where he came from, of the arts, of being a human. I really love how he can connect with people who maybe don't even see themselves as poetry lovers, as arts lovers. He can connect with the universal in that sense.
When I first got into poetry, one of the sort of factors that grabbed me were the beat writers. I loved just the free range that they would explore spaces with. But for me, honestly, women poets were always the ones that were just badasses. You know, whether it's Evan Boland or Sharon Olds or Carolyn Forche or Naomi Shihab Nye. There's just something about their work that just draws me in. And I think that's the beauty of poetry, right? I mean, it's like music. We can't always articulate why we like it, but it speaks to us, it draws us in. I think, you know, that's something I talked a lot with my students about with poetry. I think what happens, if we only look at it just to try to determine the meaning, then poetry is just a riddle. And if I get it, then I like it. And if I don't get it, I don't want anything to do with it, right? And I will ask students inevitably, you know, raise your hand if you like poetry. Nobody raises their hand. By the end of the semester, how many of y'all like poetry? And they'll all raise their hand. And I think one of the ways is getting them to see that, you know, it's a little bit of both. I mean, it is finding a meaning, not the meaning.
Ray is the real deal. He lived what he writes. He understands what he writes, and it comes from deep inside of him. It's not something that's surface or you can just throw away.
He is not afraid to explore those things that can make you vulnerable as a human. And I think as a mother of a teen son, I like that he can speak around masculinity, about what it means to be a man in the New South. And I think that's a really beautiful, simple, raw story. And I think it really resonates with a lot of people.
I think about people that weren't necessarily drawn to poetry and hoping that maybe this story or this poem could do that. And sometimes, I don't know, maybe I'm writing to God. I mean, you know, I have no idea. There's nobody there to respond. So it's almost like writing. I could be writing poems and stick them in a bottle and throw them out in the ocean, see what happens. But I do try to think of just those everyday people that I think, you know, are walking this earth and they have not been touched by poetry because they don't think they can be touched by poetry. And if I could somehow convince them that they could, and somehow that was my poem that did it, I can't think of a greater compliment, honestly.